All right, so you might be asking yourself still, we learned about prime, we learned about composite, but you still haven't said anything about what prime or composite is, Mr. Johnson. That's right, we haven't got there yet. But check it out. They're going to ask you to look closer at the groups. All right, so here's what I can tell you. Prime, all right, the way that I like to remember prime is prime has two factors, all right? And this is the part that is just how I remember it. Prime, this kind of looks like prime, but this is 1 and me, all right? So it has only two factors. The only way to make it, remember with multiplication, factor times factor equals product. So the only way to make a prime number is by multiplying 1 and the number itself. So let's look at some of these pictures, right? The only way to make 2 is 1 times 2, or 2 times 1, but still the same factors, 1 and 2. So we can only make that in one way. The only way to make 3, is 1 times 3, or 3 times 1, still the same factors, 1 and 3. 1 and the number itself. Now if we look at 4, there's two ways to make 4. 1 times 4, and 2 times 2. So there are two even arrays for 4. So 2 and 3 can only be made, if we're looking at the number 2, the only way to make the number 2 is 1 times 2. There's no other way. All right, those are all the factors. Okay, so I like to play Pokemon when I'm looking for factors, and when I've caught all the factors, I like to draw a little Pokeball. I've caught them all. All right, same thing with 3. If we look at the picture on the left, right, 3 can only be made by doing 1 times 3. There's no other way besides 1 times 3 or 3 times 1. Those are the only two factors to make 3. So we found two factors, we caught them all. Both of these are prime, because the only way that we can make both of these numbers with multiplication is 1 times the number itself. Now, if we look at the number 4, this is where our pattern changes. 4 can be made with 1 times 4, but it can also be made by 2 times 2. So 4 actually has three factors, 1, 2, and 4. 3 only had two factors, 1 and 3. 2 only had two factors, 1 and 2. But 4 has 1, 2, and 4. This is what makes 4 different. 4 is what we call a composite number, because there's more than two factors. So we can look at 5. 5 also can only be made with 1 times 5. If you look at the array over here, 1 times 5, this is not an array. All right, so the factors for 5 are 1 and 5. Now let's look at 6. 6, we can do 1 times 6, or we can do 2 times 3. 6 has four factors, 2, 3, and 6. I'm drawing the arrow there because you can see 1, 2, 3, 6. All right, 7 only has two factors. The only way to make 7 is 1 times 7. As you can see, any other way doesn't work. All right, so the only two factors to 7 are 1 and 7. All right, and then I'm going to do 8 over here. So all the ways to make 8. We can do 1 times 8, and we can do 2 times 4. So it has four factors, 1, 2, 4, and 8. So 5 is prime because it only has two factors. 7 is also prime because it only has two factors. However, 6 and 8 have more than two factors, so those are composite. More than two factors is composite. So we have 3 composite and 4 prime numbers.